Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the set 7121 Naboo Swamp from the year 1999. So the first wave of LEGO Star Wars ever made. It has 82 whole pieces, originally retailed for 10 bucks. And nowadays, if you want it new in box, you can find it for about $51, used $23. I actually got mine for $7 on Bricklink because Qui-Gon was missing his lightsaber hilt, which I had an extra of. And one of the battle droids was missing, but I have plenty of extra that are older as well. So here we are. This is the set. It is quite an interesting set, I must say, and not necessarily for the best reasons. They have never redone this set, and I think that there is a blatant reason why. But before we get into that, I do want to show you guys the minifigures first. So taking a look here, we have Qui-Gon Jinn, and he is a pretty neat minifigure. I think even back for 1999, I think he was pretty well done. And he has a really unique hairpiece. His cape is unfortunately a little bit wrinkled there, but it's not too bad. Sorry, it's wanting to come out of focus a little bit, but I think his tunic is pretty detailed, and then the mustache for his face I really, really like, though it is a little bit lighter than his actual hair color. And then he doesn't have any printing that continues on the legs, nor does he have any printing on the back of his cape, but we do have Qui-Gon there. And in comparison to the very most recent Qui-Gon Jinn from episode 1, we can see that there is a lot of updated detail, though I think that his tunic is actually more detailed in the older version, though this one does expand onto the legs, so you have to give it credit for that. The details are bigger on this newer one, though I don't like that little triangle on the neck. It doesn't match. This one matched perfect. Lightsabers are just a little bit different, darker green, and then, we lost that chrome hilt. This one particularly doesn't have a cape because it's from a different scene. I think that they were able to refine the hairpiece a little bit. It's a little less shiny and a little bit more carved out, if that makes sense. And then obviously the face details are quite a bit different. This one does still look quite a bit like Qui-Gon Jinn to me, so this one is just more detailed, and then there is a little bit of printing on the back. So there's the comparison between those two, and we have Qui-Gon Jinn. And then here we have Jar Binks, which is a pretty cool character for the time. I must say he's one of the very first custom molded heads. He might be the very first non-minifigure style head. I believe Jar does hold the record for that. And it is a very, very unique head. I definitely applaud LEGO for not trying to stuff this into a LEGO minifigure face. It would have been horrifying. As it is already, Jar is rather creepy. I love the little eyes on top like a frog. And his tunic is pretty dang good. I mean, they got it pretty spot on from the beginning. There's no detailing on the pants, unfortunately, but he has really plain pants in the movie as well. But I think that torso printing is really, really nice. Nothing on the back, and he is all one color. So they were able to custom mold a head for him, but they couldn't add too much detail in at the time. Now, compared with the most recent Jar update that we have, which is just the second update, he's not had any more in between or since. They added a lot of color onto the face, onto the molded headpiece, which looks really, really nice. Definitely accentuates it, makes it a little bit less creepy because for some reason, molded pupils are scary. And then they just kind of colored his torso. They didn't really change it at all. The print is basically the same. They just gave it a little bit more color and then changed the color of his arms so that he had a little bit less of just a pale skin complexion. So they haven't changed Jar much over the years. The mold is exactly the same. So good for them. 1999 Jar for the win on that. And not too bad. So it's really fun to have both of them in comparison. So those are the Gungans. And then most of you watching these Star Wars LEGO videos have seen a battle droid. This one's torso hinge is mega loose, so he's not going to want to stay on my stand very well. But they have never changed the look of the battle droid. So this is it from day one, minus they will occasionally change the accessories. As you can tell here, he has a little backpack. That's just a 1x2 on his back. Little tiny sculpted eyes, and basically perfect. Never changed since 1999. The battle droid. And you do get two of them, so there's no point in showing the second one because they're just the same. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't like that the torso falls sideways, but that happens over time. Luckily, since they're on a staff, they're going to be hanging, so they'll always be straight, so it's a win. So basically, this LEGO set breaks into sort of two sections. We have the swamp itself, and then we have these little stat bikes, which I think are really nice for the time. They have since kind of gone away with the design. Look at his dangly feet. They've since gone away since then, but I think that the design actually is not too bad. They grew off of this design and continue to use a very similar one to this day. It does not look bad. They're super familiar. If you play the LEGO Star Wars video game, I remember these dudes really, really well. And then they're on these little clear bases, which from far away look pretty good. And since they're wide, they stand decently well. And then these are basically the bad guys. And then we got Qui-Gon and Jar Jar as the good guys. But I really like these staffs. Definitely the better part of this build for sure. And then we have the swamp, and I gotta say, it's really lackluster. I even think back for 1999, they were kind of scraping the barrel for this one. We do have a couple of like swampy scenes, some like vines, tree vine things, but Lego has always really struggled with trees, in my opinion, minus the treehouse set that they've made. I've just never been a huge fan. The vines on the top are a little awkward, and then it looks like seaweed. Obviously, the bottom is supposed to represent water. There are no clams in swamps, but they included a clam. And you know, they can stand up here, but there's absolutely no play features to this set, just entirely. Now, you can swoop these guys around at least and make them pretend to make them, you know, fly around and capture Jedi. But with the swamp accessory, it is strictly display and not a great display. So I think that's where this set fails. And you know, I think it is pretty well known for this. Though you do get some cool minifigures. You know, you get 2 droids and 2 stat bikes if you want to add them to your collection. You get a Jar Jar, which is the first ever Jar Jar. Qui-Gon is always a great character to get. So by far, for the price, it's still great minifigure-wise, but golly, this scene is not good. It's just a flat blue with some vines. But, you know, I had to have it because I'm me. Do I recommend you necessarily getting this if you're trying to, you know, like... If you're having to be selective with minifigures or sets to get, no, I would pass and go for something cooler. But it has a rather nostalgic value to it, as well as a really unique look for the year 1999. But yeah, the swamp is pretty awful. Though it is interesting to have such a big blue piece. Star Wars doesn't have a lot of blue. And so it's one of a kind. They've never remade it. I don't think there ever needs to be a reason to remake it, honestly, because there are no play features. Now, they could remake it and give it more play features, but I still think that it's going to be awkward because Lego doesn't do well with creating trees and vinery and stuff that looks realistic on that scale. So there's not a whole lot of things that can be done with this. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review nonetheless. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And guys, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.